The president has made no secret of his disdain for CNN, but this week the White House took their venom to a new level, barring a CNN reporter from attending an open White House briefing. CNN reporter Caitlin Collins was the network pool reporter this week when she attended an event in the Oval Office. When the formal event ended, Collins had a few questions for the president.
Mr. President, are you worried about what Michael Cohen is going to say to prosecutors?
Thank you, Dave. Let's keep going.
Are you worried about what is on the other tapes, Mr. President?
Thank you all.
As Collins explained later, this is normal procedure.
It is often our only chance to ask President Trump questions that day, and he often responds to us.
But shortly after that event, Collins was called in for a chat with White House communications boss Bill Shine.
So I was blocked from attending an open press event here at the White House because the White House did not like the questions I posed to President Trump earlier in the day.
CNN's Wolf Blitzer was apoplectic.
It's truly shocking.
More shocking, the Trump-friendly Fox network threw their support behind CNN.
As a member of the White House press pool, Fox stands firmly with CNN on this issue of access.
Meanwhile, Bill Shine went on to deny that Collins was banned at all.
You ask her if we ever use the word ban. You ask her. Focus now. You ask her if we ever use the word ban.
Caution, you have entered the all-spin zone. I mean, honestly, I have said this. I get a little uneasy sometimes at the way these questions are asked. I mean, they're shouting them out, and I mean, it's right on the borderline of inappropriate. Although it happens every day, it happens with every president. It didn't just happen with President. I mean, every helicopter shot you can picture of a president heading to it, there's somebody yelling something at them. So I don't think. I mean, he was never going to answer those kinds of personal questions about, you know, his troubles with his lawyer. In that, but having said that, acknowledging that she could have been more polite. You can't ban somebody from an open press conference, which is why I was so happy to see that Fox actually agreed with that.
Actually, there was she wasn't impolite in her in the way that she expressed the question. That's what everybody does. They didn't like the nature of the question.
They
so
said it was rude
they're
and
characterizing the nature of the question as being impolite. And I don't care what he says, ban or no ban, he doesn't have to use the word. We understand what it means. And so do the other reporters. And the only thing I can say, we've talked about this on this set before, I'm happy to see that the rest of the reporters stood up and said, this is not appropriate. You don't get to determine. But I don't know what happened as a result of that. She still got blocked from going to that. And, you know, the real response should have been that none of them should have gone. Right. And then that's the best way to say, this is what we mean when we say don't do this and don't block somebody because you don't like the question.
One element that's important here, I think, is that she was also the pool reporter in this case. And I think it's important for people to know that there's a special qualification that you have there. You are responsible for making sure that certain questions are asked. You do a little bit of preparation in advance, whether it's print or television, to know that there are certain questions that your viewers, that your audience has. And so she had that responsibility, and I think that adds weight to this. The chaos of the situation, though, I think probably is going to speak is going to speak to the Trump base a little bit. Oh, well.
Yeah. Well, you know what? What makes me kind of spit fire about all this is you had Kellyanne Conway and Sanders coming out immediately after and talking about the need for civility in the White House. How utterly absurd when you have a president who couldn't be more uncivil to journalists. And the other thing, Roy, you're so right. The need for a person, the pool reporter, to ask the questions that everybody wants to be asked is imperative. The other thing that I do think plays a role here is that she's a woman.
Yes.
They said she yelled, and that was somehow indecorous. And we're old enough to remember Sam Donaldson, who made a career out of yelling at presidents as they were headed toward the helicopter, yelling at Ronald Reagan particularly. And it was almost a bit of a joke. In fact, he made it into the comic pages for that sort of thing. Had that been a male correspondent, I doubt very much we would be in this place.
But Tom, she was shouting and everybody else was too. So how did they pick her out?
I know. They didn't like her questions.
I couldn't tell who was saying what. Emily, I completely share your distaste for the spectacle. But as Eric Wemple pointed out in the Washington Post, President Trump, even more than his predecessors, is very likely to answer
Yes, she said
questions under
so.
those
Yeah.
circumstances. So the idea that she shouldn't be doing this because it's indecorous, when in fact it is a technique that has gotten results on
exactly.
any number of occasions.
That's what she said.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, this is just crazy. But, you know,
But it was CNN. I think that
Yes.
the fact that it was a CNN reporter and a woman
CNN,
is the combination.
CNN and
1-2.
Bill Shine. I mean, let's focus now.
Oh, you
that
know,
was just
sanctimony.
so obnoxious.
Yeah, really.
And it came down to, did we use the word ban? I mean, you know.
You disinvited her.
Yeah,
Let's put
she
it
was
that way.
unwelcome.
Yeah,
That's
she was
right.
told not to
Yeah.
come.
Right.
How about that?
So unladylike of
Yeah.
her. You know.
That's right.